All right, so this is going to be an interesting episode. I recently just left my job, the job that caused me to have so many episodes where I had to rush into it, do things super quickly, super sloppily. I've just left. And, I didn't want to talk about it back then, but, I'm going to talk about it now. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to sit here. It's going to be a little bit of a longer one. I'm just going to kind of talk through it, right? Talk through my experiences and talk through what I learned and what I would recommend for you in the future. I think it's an important thing, it's an interesting thing, and I'm revealing it to you now. So, and also at the end I'm going to talk about some future plans for the show of course as well. Now that I have less to do because I'm now not doing the job. So basically, what I was doing, you maybe know because of some things I might have said before or the vlog I posted a couple weeks ago. I was a door-to-door salesman for about a month, and I did well. I was actually very good at it, but really the main reason why I stopped was because of the hours, like going out there in the cold, and you have to deal with that, right? And you go out in the cold, you have to deal with it. It wasn't so much like rejection and stuff. It was like I don't know, just the grueling hours of it, getting home at like 10, 11 p.m. every night, having to rush to get stuff done, being in bed super late and not getting a lot of sleep and just being overall chaotic. So, you know what? I went through a month of that type of a schedule and, I kind of decided, you know what? Sure, there's a level of discipline that I need to get to in my life, but I think this isn't worth it. This isn't where I'm going to put my efforts into. So I made that decision consciously. Like I was maybe 2 weeks in, let's say, and I was already saying, okay, let me ride this out another couple of weeks. And I did. And I did well, like numbers wise, sales wise. I was actually very good at it. I had a very good presentation and I was able to sell a good amount of stuff. I made a good amount of money. Obviously, I'm not going to disclose that. But the point is, like, I went through it, right? I went through it and now I'm here, I'm done, and I'm moving on to better things because you know what? I don't like, people like in the company, they're painting the vision of how you can stay there and you can make it to the top or whatever. I'm not really there for that. You know what I mean? I couldn't see myself doing this for like 6 months, a year, or whatever. So I did it for a month, and sure, whatever. It's not as long as you would think, and you might look at it as something lazy, but I think it's important that it was a conscious decision. It was nothing that I did emotionally. It was not an impulse. I had already been deciding like how I was going to structure it and how long I was actually going to give it. So I've prioritized, having a good Christmas break with my family and then going on to better things in the new year. I've prioritized that over continuing to go out and work and sweat and just, be in the cold and be freezing, just trying to get people to buy things. So, that's what I was doing. And that's what I've been up to. So now I'm back, right? Now I literally just got back. I just quit today. So how did this come about, right? Well, I was looking for a job, right? I need a job. I need a source of income. Like, I had to do something to actually get some money in, right? And it came to a point where I couldn't find a job, right? I could not find a job. So then when this company contacted me to come in for an interview, I actually didn't know what it was for. I suspected, it was a sales rep, right? That's what they call a sales rep because door to door, no one wants to do door to door, right? So you're not going to say in the position that is door to door. So I thought it was some sort of like some marketing. You go to marketing conferences or something. That's what I thought it is. That's how it appeared on the website. But then I found out that stuff's only for if you climb up the ladder in the company and you make it to the higher rankings, you get to do those things. But where I was starting out was going to be door to door. And when I saw that, I was like, when I was looking for jobs, I really didn't want to do door to door. I'm gonna be honest. I saw that as an option. I want sales experience and still want sales experience because sales is everywhere in life. And I'll get to that. I'll get to the lessons I actually learned from the job. But in the moment, I really was like I was thinking like retail sales or like something office like I don't know. Like sure traveling school, but the door to door thing is just like I don't know. It feels intrusive and I'm like I don't really like it. But I decided to stick it out. You know what I mean? I decided to just say, "Hey, I'm not getting any other opportunities anytime soon. I got nothing else to do. It's probably better than not doing it." And I've made a good amount of money. I've gone through it. I went through the training process. I went out on my own. I made a lot of sales. I had a lot of funny stories. We had a lot of fun laughs, fun car rides. Like, the office was amazing. The people were so great. And, I appreciate them and I appreciate the time spent. But I think just because of what I have planned for myself in the future, I think this is not my time. I actually helped someone else make it to their time and get a promotion because my numbers, I was on his team and I helped him get a promotion. So I was able to help him facilitate his time, and when it was his time for something better. My time for something better is in a different time and in a different place. It's not going to be here in this door-to-door system. So I just decided to write it out, and I wrote it out. And after a month of kind of grueling work and just kind of draining myself, I'm going to take a couple of days where I just like relax for a little bit, and then I'm going to immediately start and go on a more kind of structured and polished workout routine. Because, well, in the new year, I plan to go back on trial with a team. I don't know what team yet. I don't know what I'm going to do, but a team somewhere, and I'm going to continue keeping the football dream alive. I am not just going to quit. I think I needed some time away to realize, like, I'm not just going to hang it up. I'm not just going to hang up the boots. I'm not just going to throw in the towel. Like, there's so much more potential. I'm only 20. I'm not 23. I'm not 25. I have time to potentially make a big comeback. And I've continued to work out, and I've continued to stay pretty decently fit, even, which is good considering, the grueling hours I had to work. I still managed to fit workouts in here and there, which was good. But I'm going to ramp up that training routine starting maybe middle of this week to potentially pursue that, right? Pursue that and actually make it into some other team, or at least to try out for them in the new year. And, enjoy my Christmas break with my family, not having to go out in the cold, freezing winter in Canada. And then being A-okay to just grind and be ready for when I get to that point, when I get to that point in January, February, where things will start to materialize. That's my basic plan. And, door to door, I've left it because it's not really a part of that plan. And I think I would rather personally go and pursue that than continue, especially with the grueling work that it entails. So that was my own decision, right? And I didn't want to talk about it because, like, I'm going out and I'm literally like talking to people, right? And I'm like, I'm pissing people off because I'm knocking at the door at the wrong time, and it's like, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to keep that under wraps. I don't know. Was I a little bit embarrassed about it? Maybe. But I made decent money. Like, I'm not going to tell you, but it was pretty good money for just a month in the job. And only 3 weeks out on my own. The first week was a training week. So, I look back on it, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a positive. I made some good money, right? It's a positive. It's not the end goal, right? Because obviously, money's not the measure of success. Money's not the reason why I was there in the first place. And, money doesn't glorify God, obviously. But it's a win. It's a small thing you can take and be like, okay, at least there was that much. And, the things I learned, I'm going to get to them. Don't worry. So that's how that came about. It kind of just like, I just decided, yeah, let me just go for it. Let me try. And it was good. Again, great memories, great laughs. I met some truly amazing people. I had some truly amazing conversations within like fellow coworkers and leaders and all that stuff. Like, I met some real friends and had some true bonds with people. So obviously, they're not the reason why I'm done. I'm done because it's just not my type of thing. And while I want to keep that physical pursuit alive, I want to keep that football dream alive. I think it was a good thing. And I'll start with this. It was a good thing because, I'll be real, man. When I was getting to, June, July type of time, I was really questioning it. I was really being like, do I really want to keep going? And then I went and did my trial at Huesca, and it was a super good experience. And I was like, yeah, man, it was great. I played amazing football, and I couldn't really ask for anything more, obviously, other than being signed. But I wasn't signed, but it's all good. So when I came back to Canada originally, I was over here like, okay, do I really want to keep going? And I was kind of questioning that. I was like, okay, do I really want to deal with it? And, I was questioning that, and I wasn't really sure. I was still training with this other team. And then when practices stopped, because we don't have a season in the winter, so when practices stopped and I got the door-to-door job, I spent some time doing this. And I think time doing this made me realize, you know what? Like football is still so worth it. Like there's just no reason for me to just hang it up, right? There were people in there that wanted to be professional athletes, but then for whatever reason stopped and then made it into sales, and now sales is their entire career, right? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not ready to kick it in just yet. I'm not finished with what I started. And it took me taking some time away and taking some time doing something more grueling and more difficult to come to that conclusion, that realization for myself. I'm not ready to kick in the towel just yet. Like, I'm far from it. Even if World Cup 2026, although that was my ultimate dream, it's very far-fetched at this point. First of all, it's still possible. It's not impossible. Again, if I make it to a team in the winter, we can see anything can happen, right? But just because I don't make it to World Cup 2026 doesn't mean the football hopes are over. Like, absolutely not, man. And I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep pushing on. And I'm going to do my coaching badges, probably be a coach as well. And I'll find ways to make the most of my life, right? Because, I don't think that this specific, door-to-door sales specifically is going to be part of that. I think I still want some more sales experience. I think I want some different positions. I think, improving in some other aspect of sales and translating and transferring the skills I learned in door-to-door, albeit a short time, to something else could be super useful for me. But that's not something that I wanted to do. And it took me time away from football to realize that, you know what, it's better. You know what? Like, being out and walking around, going to doors in the cold sucks. For multiple hours a day, it sucks. But like when you're actually like going for a run in the cold, there's something different about it, the discipline of it. I guess it's just because I'm so accustomed to it that it's like, I love, a nice difficult run in the cold where I'm feeling like crap and I'm pushing myself. I just did that a couple of days ago, and it's like, I love that. Just walking in the cold and going to the doors, I absolutely hate it every second of that. For some reason, it's just when you have that physical challenge that comes with it, like I just felt that much more fulfillment from that. So, that's also a small thing to think about as well. And, obviously it's the Canadian winter, man. To train for a trial opportunity in the new year, I'm going to have to go out in the cold often. So I'm going to have to deal with that. You know what I mean? I have to bundle up, put some layers on, go out for those runs, right? Get that cardio back up to standard. I haven't fallen off that much. I'm still pretty good, but I think, I need these next few weeks to train super hard and, to have enough resting and relaxation during the Christmas holidays to get to the point where I can, be mentally ready and physically more than prepared for what's to come. So that's my basic plan, and that's why I decided to quit. So, it was interesting, man. And for a month, it felt like so much longer because obviously the work was grueling, right? It felt like so much longer than a month, right? Being home super late every night, always having to hear it from other people, all this type of stuff, all the stress of it. And it's like, those days where you don't actually get any sales, right? Those days in the cold, right? It's like, it was just a lot. And it felt so much longer than a month. Honestly, it was a very grueling thing, but it's finally over. I finally decided that, okay, we're done and we're moving on to bigger and better things. But, there were great moments in there too, of course. The way I see is it's like, I was putting this in my prayers, right? I was asking God, like, put me through tests, put me through things, put me through difficult things. I want to see how I perform, right? And, I think through this job, God truly has put me through some very difficult things, more difficult than I've ever gone through in my life. And even through the toughest moments, I still continue to go. I never quit on an impulse. I'm ending it based on, I was always going to be like, okay, this was going to be the week that I was either going to stop or keep going. And I decided to stop because I didn't see myself being in here in the future. But it has nothing to do with emotional things or impulsive things at all. I logically thought about it, and I think, I did pretty well considering those very cold days, those very, big failures of days and late nights, all these things that were big tests of me mentally and physically. And, injury, like, yeah, I freaking hurt my knee while I was on a walk. Like, while I was going door to door, I hurt my knee. So, like, for the last hour or two, I had to, like, limp to doors and keep going. I think those moments and those types of things were exactly God's tests for me And I think I did decently well. Obviously, I'm not one to judge. Only God judges. But I think I think it's proven. He answered my prayers truly, 100%. I can confirm that. Obviously, I can only say so much to the camera, but through the experience that I went through, I can definitely confirm that he did put me through big tests like I asked for. And how well I did on them, well, I don't know. But now I'm moving on to different things, and I think it is a good decision for me to keep going in the football and not give up and not quit. Having gone through this, I'm going to be stronger, right? So here's what I learned, man. I learned some amazing, amazing things in this door-to-door role, even if it was only a month and even if it was grueling. There were so many great things. And, I'm going to share to you a couple of the lessons that I learned. Number one, I already knew this, but it's like the fact that sales is everywhere in life. Every single thing is sales. Like even my manager, when they were hiring me, had to sell me the dream of the position, saying, oh, you can make this much money, you can do this, and you'll have so much and all this. He talks about all the good things. He leaves out all the bad things on purpose, right? But it's selling, right? He's selling me the dream, and because he wants to hire me, he needs people. He needs people to go door to door because not a lot of people want to go door to door, right? That's it's a grueling job, as I found out. But like everything's sales, right? Obviously, everything in life is sales. I learned actually specifically like how to sell things to people, how to kind of read people's body language, kind of like meet them where they're at type of thing, like tailor my presentation to suit people's needs and people's objections, objection handling. When someone has a problem, you have to actually have like a good, concise, clear response to the problem to, give them further reassurance that it's a good decision to buy the product. And I was very good at that. And I really learned how to do that even more. And in the beginning, I was petrified, man. I'm gonna be honest. When I was taken out, I was just shadowing somebody. I was petrified. I really didn't think I'd be able to do it. And then I found my stride, my rhythm, and the presentation part of it, the human relations part of it, the human psychology part of it, to try and find people's problems, solve them, and give them, make it easy for them to say yes, make it the best decision for them, make it a good, easy decision for them. I learned that pretty quickly, and that's why I was able to do super well in just such a short time. So I learned that human relations, super important. Sales is everywhere in life. In everything you do, sales is super important, right? I'm gonna be honest, right? I mean, I have this podcast. I've already exposed enough. Not a lot of people watch it right now, but maybe something will come up in the future, and like these episodes kind of get thrown in the future to embarrass me or something. But that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm ready for that to happen. It's all good. So I'm just gonna say it. Like I've never actually like ever asked a girl out, And what sales has taught me, that it's like rejection's not that bad, right? Rejection's not that bad. I think, like, I had stats. I had like an iPad with a bunch of stats and stuff. Like people said no to me like 300 times. I got 300 no's. Some more door slam in the face. Some were more like disrespectful. Most of them were pretty nice. Like for the most part, people are nice. For the most part, people like, will hear you out. And if it just doesn't make sense for them, it doesn't make sense for them. But some pretty decently disrespectful ones. And some very weird ones too. But the point is, like, rejection, I had, like, it didn't affect me really. Like, except for the really, really bad ones, I had to sit through and get through them. But the rejection actually isn't that bad. So like, I can use that for whenever I'm trying to actually get a girlfriend, right, in the future. I can use that knowledge that, I've been in sales, relationships and asking girls out. It's the same type of thing. You're selling yourself, right? It's the same type of thing. So now that I've actually experienced that, I think I can translate it, which is a good thing. And, that's another thing that I learned, right? That the no's are okay, right? Rejection is fine. Every no truly does lead to a yes eventually. And the more no's you can take, the more stress you can tolerate, the more successful you'll be in anything, whether it's picking up a chick, whether it is in sales, or whether it is in absolutely anything in life. The more no's you can handle, the better. And, I learned that, I'm actually pretty good at handling the rejection, handling the no. Like, it's not that daunting. It's not that big of a deal. So eventually I'll maybe make it to a point where I will be asking girls out. Not right now, because I think I'm still trying to plan things for myself. But at some point I will, and then it's gonna be, I'll be ready for it because I've learned in sales just how to handle the no's. So, and that's another thing in sales, right? I mean, I'm just kind of, kind of going through them, right? So obviously, sales is everywhere in life, right? The rejections actually aren't that bad. Like, it's really not all that. And the more no's you can take, the better you'll do. And human relations, the human psychology can be applied to many different aspects of life. And what I learned, the objection handling, solving people's problems, just helping people, serving people, was a good thing, right? And it was also a good thing to learn. So that was a quick recap of the things I've talked about so far. I'm kind of just spitting them out here right now. But in terms of, other lessons, I was going to say something else. What was I going to say? I was going to, I don't know. Let me just keep going, right? I'm going too fast for myself. I have to slow down for a second, right? Where am I? Actually, try and pull the lesson out, try and pull the insights out. So it's the fact that sales is everywhere in life. Rejection is actually okay. Like you don't die, and you have to get over that fear. But once you get over that fear, you're actually good. And I was fine. Like during the sales, I was fine. Like coming to the door, I was never really nervous, right? Obviously, you have to learn to read the room, right? Tailor your pitch, and even anywhere in life, right? You have to speak to people, match their energies, right? If someone is a more quiet person, you're not just going to come out with big energy, right? Be like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Hi, how are you? My name is Matthew, right? No, you have to actually be a little bit more calm, right? But if you can see the person is attentive, then you can be energetic, super hyped and happy, and then you can get it going, right? So that's what I learned. The human relations of it, the human psychology of it, the reading the room, just like social skills. I built a lot of good social skills. I kind of came out of my shell a little bit. I don't think I ever been like that, extroverted, enthusiastic, hyped, just around people in an area in an office. We would have some time in the office before we went out into the field. I don't think I've ever been that kind of crazy and hyped, but I was kind of brought out of my shell a little bit. And that kind of uncomfortableness and that kind of opening yourself up a little bit, that's also a thing that sales teaches you, because it's shy people, timid people, you're not actually going to get anything, right? You have to have that level, not going too far, but you have to have that level of assertiveness, right? That level of all right, I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to get other people, I'm going to sell the mission, sell the dream to other people as well, You need that type of assertiveness with really anything, right? And you could find that strength from God, and of course, God will give it to you, right? But I think actual experience is what gives you, because God will strengthen you through your experiences more so than anything else, and through your pains and through your difficult moments more than anything else. So it's in your experiences that you truly learn. You can never really read and just find the solutions to everything, right? No, you actually have to go out and experience it. And I think that's what happened for me. And that was a good thing. I was able to actually go out and experience something that was a little bit more than just reading stuff, right? Even if it was for a short time, it was still more than enough because it felt long. It felt super long. So that's what I learned. Those are the few good things that I learned. And there was one more point, but it slipped my mind. I mean, I'll put a comment if I do remember. If I don't, it's not the end of the world. I think I got the point across that there's a lot of good things to do. That's what I recommend to anyone. Go get a sales job. If it has to be door to door, you can work door to door for a month like I did, right? And it'll teach you a lot of things. And if it's not door to door, it's even better because it's not going to be as grueling. Any type of sales job will give you so much experience in life, and you can translate these lessons to life because everything in life is truly sales. You're always trying to sell somebody something, right? Whether it's an idea, whether it's the vision, the mission, my parents want me to have a plan for my life, and my plan for my life doesn't align with what they want for me. It's okay. I don't have to get too deep into that. But I have to sell them that dream. I have to sell them that my plan is something possible, right? Not doing so well at that right now, but we're still working. We're still trying to do better, right? But even that, right? Conversations with people, relationships, right? You have to sell yourself to your significant other, to the other opposite gender, right? You have, in actual sales, right? If you're going to be in business, sales is a huge part. You have to get your ideas out there, right? You have to get people interested in buying your product and having your service, right? That is also a level of sales, in sports, in football. I'm a football player, right? You have to sell the fact that you're good, right? So not only do you have to actually be good on the field, you have to create a good highlight reel. You have to create a good CV, right? You have to have all of your achievements, all of your stats, all that kind of stuff in the best way to sell yourself, especially if you're just, kind of on the fringes like me. You have to send stuff to agents, to coaches, because you're not going to get that scout that's watching you that's going to pick you up. You're trying to force your way in. That's what I'm doing. As you can tell, I'm very experienced with that. You have to have good content to send them so that they can, then look at you in the future or then invite you to a trial. And then, well, then at that point, it's up to you to actually go out and perform, right? That's different. But there's a level of selling you have to do there too. So you can really keep going on and on and on about like where sales is applied in everyday life. So that's what I recommend. Go get a sales job. Even if you're only working for a month, like you'll learn so much. You'll come out of your shell. You'll become more extroverted. You'll be able to talk to more people. Like you'll be able to understand people better, and it will just make you a better person. It will make you grow in such amazing ways. And even if it was a little bit tough for me, I still found immense growth in this month that I've done this job. So that's what I would recommend. So I think that was what I learned. The bad parts of it, I kind of already touched upon, the grueling work, the long hours, the in bed late, and just that stuff's kind of overpowered the good things, like again, like what would happen is we would go to some town in the middle of nowhere, and then it would take an hour, and then the guy would just drop us off at the farthest away subway station from my house. So like then it would be an hour long subway ride to get home. So it's like, yes, 2 hour commutes. But you know what? On those car rides, on those subway rides, like I probably had some of the greatest conversations I've ever had. Like I've probably, got to know some truly amazing people. And I only wish them the best of luck, I actually wanted to get a couple of them on the show, but they didn't want to, but it's all good. Don't worry. The future plan for the show, while I'm on that topic, I'll just quickly touch upon it, is that, I'm planning on getting guests, right? Probably by the end of the month, I'll have some better equipment. I'll have a better setup, maybe a better wall, something. I'll figure something out. I'll probably move some things around. I'll maybe even move rooms, depending on what happens. And I'm planning to get some people on, starting with, friends and people that I know, people that are close to me. Probably by the end of the month, you'll start to see that happens, because, this is episode 64, right? And it's been over 2 months, and, it's just been me talking to a camera. It doesn't really feel podcasty, even if there's no edits, or at least minimal edits. It doesn't feel podcasty. It feels more just YouTube video, right? So I'm going to get people on. We're going to have like real conversations, right? And, I have many conversations that, like, I guess we all do, right? Where we're like, oh, if we recorded that, it would have been so cool. Like it would have gotten millions of views, right? Obviously that's not the case ever, but at least we create some good content. So that's what I plan to do. Bring some of those conversations to the actual recordings and actually, post them and upload some of them. So it'll start with some friends. Maybe I can start to get some people that are like a little bit higher up. And that's kind of what the goal is for these next couple months of the show, especially when I don't have a job and I have a lot of time to spare. I can go and I can record a couple hours worth of episodes, even if instead of like a quick 10-15 minute like tidbit lesson thing, which is kind of what it's been for the last couple of weeks. Podcasts, they're also supposed to be longer. And, today is a longer episode, but it's still just me talking to the camera. So future of the show, I will have some better equipment, and I will start to get actual like other guests on this show more often. I'll figure out some sort of a schedule behind it, and I'm probably gonna, as I keep training, as I potentially find a new job, like I'm gonna try and find a way to make everything fit. But I think if my job is a lot less grueling with a lot less hours as the door-to-door job, it should be a lot easier to fit things in. and make things a lot smoother for me in the process, right? For example, I also haven't been able to upload any shorts, right? I know that shorts are where the growth is, if there's ever going to be growth. I haven't been able to because like I would just, it would be midnight, 1 a.m. by the time I finally got the regular episode out, right? So let alone like you need another hour, you have to scour through the content, actually get the shorts. And I don't really want to pay someone to do it, I'm gonna be honest. So I just don't have the time for that. So potentially you'll see some more shorts in the future as well. Again, depending on the time I have and how I manage to structure my schedule, that will kind of come in the next few days, few weeks. But that's the plan. I'm actually going to try and make some moves now. Now that I've quit the job, now that I've left, now that I've moved on, I've taken the lessons that I've gotten from door-to-door sales and I can use them in the rest of my life. I now have them in my mind. I have them in the back of my head, banked away for the future when I need them. So now I can kind of spend a little bit more time on this show and actually, building it, making it better, and continuing to glorify God in the greatest way possible. So that is the plan, right? That's the basic plan for the show. I wouldn't get your hopes up, the few people that watch. I'm trying to get these episodes out to more people. And, Spotify, like if you've made it this far, please follow on Spotify. Like Spotify no one really watches Spotify. And it's like, if I want to have growth, I have to have these episodes kind of out there in multiple places, right? So YouTube, of course, there's going to always be views on the videos, whether it be 3 views or it be 20 or it be 50. And I get a couple views that already have a few hundred, which is good. It's a good start considering I couldn't put that much time into it. I plan to be putting a little bit more. I'm not going to dedicate my whole life to it, but I plan to be putting in a little bit more, and hopefully you'll see that the quality will improve because of the more time I put into it, right? Improve the setup, get more guests on, that type of thing. So that's the plan for the future. And, when it comes to the door-to-door job, just a couple of things that I want to add here at the end. That's like, I kind of had to go through it, with everything. God's put me through it. God puts each and every one of us through things for a reason, right? Every person that we meet in our lives, we meet for a reason. Every experience we go through is for a reason, right? I had to go through it, I think it was absolutely necessary for me to learn. I kind of saw it as more of like a side quest. Like I was doing like a little side mission of life, and I did, and I completed the side quest now, right? I'm personally putting an end to this side quest. But like that's kind of how I framed it from the start. You know what? Let's just go out and do it. It's a little side mission. I can dedicate a little bit of time to it because I'm still young and I still have the time to spare. And, it was good in the end, even if it was grueling, even if it was tough, the lessons learned and the money made, all very helpful, right? All very helpful, very useful. Making the money proves to me that I can do it, right? It proves to me that I am actually good. Like that is probably the worst part. That's what made it a bit tougher, is that I was actually good. If I sucked, it would be easy to just say, all right, yeah, I suck, so it's all good, I go. No, I was good. From the first week, I was good, and I knew what I was doing. I was super proficient. And like, it all kind of came together, and I was good, right? I made a good amount of money, more money than probably majority of people make in their first 3 weeks in door-to-door sales, considering I've never had an official job like that before. So, it made it a bit tougher, right? Because I was actually good at what I do. But that's good. That's a good thing that I'm good at what I do, because that means I can transfer to other situations in life, and I can transfer to a future potential sales job that maybe isn't so grueling in the future. So, I've stuck it on my resume, even if it's only a month and they say you should have 6 months of experience on a resume. I'm just putting it on there because I'm just putting the cold hard stats. That's like, sure, I didn't stay for that long, but I'm good. Like I did it. I freaking hit the numbers, right? I hit those milestones instantly, and I hit the ground absolutely running. So I quit at the top, right? I quit like knowing that I could make the money, which is good, right? It's good to know that you can actually make the money. And I've gone and I've learned all of these amazing skills that come from door-to-door sales. So it's a good thing for me. And, my plan for the future doesn't have anything to do with door-to-door. But, I want a sales job probably in the future. I'm going to continue to work on this podcast. It's 365 days. So I said what I said, and I'm making sure to make it happen. Even if it has to be at 1 a.m., right? Which technically is the next day, but the night, it's the night of one day. And it had to be in these last couple of weeks, a couple of times. So that's kind of my plan, right? And, if you guys are interested, great. If you're still watching, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Expect better things in the future. That's what I say. I'm not going to promise anything specifically like amazing. Oh, this isn't going to be like a freaking, $5 million show production, 5 million subscribers, whatever. It's not going to be that, right? But hopefully, like it, we can get to 1,000, right? Step one, get to 800. Because honestly, in these, have I even gained 100 subscribers in these 60 days? No, not really, because I started higher, because again, this was an old account that I've used and I've repurposed into the show. So let's first get to 800, then 1,000. I'm going to continue to improve the production there. When it comes to this job, those are the things I learned. Take it with you. I recommend you get a sales position too. If it has to be door to door, go and do it. That's what I say. If it has to be door to door, go and do it. If you can get a retail sales job or some other thing, it'll still give you great lessons. Go and do that instead, because I think for a lot of people, the grueling nature of the door to door isn't for them. If it is for you, more power to you, right? Go for it, right? Go out there, give your 100% effort. And like that's super important. That's what you got to do. So those are the lessons that you will learn from sales, is what I've kind of talked about. That fact that the rejection's fine. Don't worry about it, right? Don't fear it. Rejection's actually okay. And it's not the end of the world, right? And you learn that the more no's you hear, and being in sales teaches you that. You learn about personal relationships, about human psychology, about how to treat people, about how to help and serve others rather than focusing on yourself. Okay, 2 final points, right? 2 final points before I end this off. The first point is this. What I also learned is different sales tactics, right? You have slimy sales tactics, lying or purposefully omitting things, leaving things out of the equation. Like for there'd be like a $80 activation fee on something. You wouldn't say it. Or taxes bring the cost up by $30 because you're paying that much. You don't say it. You don't even show. Like, there are people that do that. There are people that I worked with that do exactly that. They like force it onto them, leave out the things that would probably make them not buy, because but then the issue is when they actually see those fees that no one told them about, the customer gets mad and it ends up not working anyway, 99% of the time. So you have authentic, real, honest sales. That's what I practiced. And I think that is in part why I was so successful, because I was super honest with people. I talked about every single fee, every single thing, every single like tax increase. I would show them the whole order, the whole bill, and I would walk them through the process of it. And it's like, that's what you have to do. You have to be honest in sales, because if you're slimy, if you lie, it will come back to bite you. It will. And that's why, it's those types of people that sales has such a bad rep, because of those slimy salesmen that like leave out things and lie to the customers saying, oh yeah, I can do this. I can give you $100, right? Or whatever, but you can't actually. Or, oh yeah, you can get a year free of the service, but no, not even close, right? So you have to just realize that, there's places where, if someone is really like not interested, you throw out like you can say a lie if you then tell the truth later. Like, you say some extravagant lie to get them interested, and then when they ask you about it later, you say, no, I was just trying to get you interested. Most of the time they'll understand that, because that's kind of, again, human psychology. But you don't want to actively lie about what you're giving them, right? And if you do, that's what gives sales a bad rep. So that's what I learned, is that there's those 2 types. I, of course, because I'm a Christian man and trying to be a God-fearing man, but definitely God-loving man, God-fearing I'm working on still, where it's about honesty. It's about actually like understanding. Like, if it doesn't make sense for you, I'm not going to waste time trying to convince you, trying to lie to you, trying to get you to just sign. No, I'm just going to move on. Have a nice day. God bless. Move on to the next person. And then when it is the time for someone to buy, I walk them through the whole process. I don't leave a single piece of information out. And if they have questions for me later, I make sure to answer it and understand it and help them in the best way. That's how you need to be as a salesman. So if you go in there, don't try and be that lying guy, that sleazy salesman that kind of tries to talk himself out of certain things. Like if you're trying to get someone's attention, sure, it's a good thing. But you have to make sure to tell them later that you were just trying to get their attention. But for the most part, 99% of circumstances, there's no need to leave things out. Be completely honest. You're not going to lose the sale if you tell them completely honestly what's happening. I never did. I never got to the point where someone was going to buy and I told them about an activation fee and they said, "Oh, no, 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 I can't do that." I didn't get to that. I obviously, maybe I wasn't in the business long enough to actually experience that. But I never got to that point where someone like actually I lost the sale because I was honest. Being honest actually gives you more credibility and increases the chance that people won't cancel. They won't just throw your stuff in the garbage. They'll actually use it and they'll actually like benefit from it, and you're actually helping them. That's what sales needs to be. That's what business needs to be. That's what everything in life needs to be. You have to be helping people, serving others first and foremost before you serve yourself. But that's the way the world works. If you serve others, then you will get the rewards for it. And I made the money for it, right? I don't care about the money. The money is number one for me, but I made the money and I developed the skills as a result of helping and serving others first and being honest. Being an honest salesman, not the sleazy, lying salesman. So that's what you have to do also if you get into sales and even really in anything in life. Just be honest. Don't lie to people. That's a common, easy Christian teaching. Just go and follow that. The second point is you have time, right? You have time to spend a month trying it out, right? Or you have time to, get that girlfriend, right? Achieve that goal, achieve that dream. That's what I've learned myself, that I'm like, you know what? I have time still. I'm not just going to quit on the football until I really just don't have, like, I really just run out of time. I get too old, whatever. I'm not at that point yet, right? And so instead of letting the temptations and the overwhelm get to me, I'm just going to keep going, right? I'd rather keep going there than in this door-to-door thing. But you have time. You have time to spend pursuing your dreams, pursuing your goals. And you also have time to spend trying new things out, whatever that may be. If it's going to be sales, if it's going to be door-to-door, or it's going to be something else, some other big pursuit or big thing in your life. You have the time. You know what I mean? Even if you're 35, you can spend a month doing something, like doing something different. You know what I mean? If you look at the grand scheme of things, right? Like, you could take a month to do something different, to try something new. And even if you don't stick with it, you've still learned a lot of great lessons from it. So that's what I would say. You always have time. Take a month, right? Eventually, if something, maybe you try that new thing and it ends up being the thing for you. And it ends up being the thing that you want to dedicate your life to, or at least dedicate a few years to, and you receive the rewards and the fruits from it. But maybe it won't be. For me, the door-to-door sales, it wasn't. I decided that after a month of being in there, I've decided that it wasn't. But that's okay. I spent a month. I've learned a lot. I made some money. And we're good, I met some amazing people that I'm probably going to keep in contact with. Met some amazing friends, had some amazing conversations, amazing laughs, amazing memories. So we're good, We are good to keep on going. So that's what I would say. That's my last point for today, that you got time. So whatever it is in your life that you want to go out there and you want to go and pursue, you want to try that new thing, dedicate a month. Start with a month. You got a month to spare. A month of doing it is really never going to destroy your entire life. And then once that month passes, then you can make a decision as to whether or not you're going to keep going. But I think that's a good thing. And that's what I've done with the sales. I've decided to not keep going. But for any other pursuit, I might decide to keep going. For you, in your life, you might decide to keep going. So that is what I say in terms of that. So I'm going to put a bow on this episode finally. It's a pretty long one. So thanks for you if you're sticking with me still. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you're sticking with me still, this is the end of this episode. Basically, I've gone through a couple of the plans for the future. You already know how it's going to be. And, sales is everywhere in life. So I was actually in there, right? And I'm just telling you those are my experiences. Those are some things I'm kind of scratching the surface too. I can, maybe in the future I'll go through more specific stories, right? So that's it, right? I am done. I am officially done my door-to-door sales journey. Maybe not forever, depending on where my life goes. Who knows what God's plan is for me, right? But in terms of, at least for the near future, I'm done. And I'm not going to go back. So now I'm coming out, telling you about it, talking about the experiences. For privacy's sake, I did not want to reveal it while I was doing the job. But now that I'm done, I can come all guns blazing, no problems, no issues. And again, it's not like I'm talking trash about anyone. I'm not. Like, all the people in there were amazing. Like, all the people I met were so great. I met some amazing people, amazing friends, amazing coworkers. Like, I have nothing against anybody that was there at all. Like not even like the smallest level of hatred towards anyone. Everyone was just absolutely amazing. It's just the job, the work, and where I am in my life versus where I want to be. That's kind of come together to make my decision easy for me to say I'm not going to keep going. So that's that. Pursue the things you want to pursue. Go out there and go and pursue your dreams, whatever it may mean. Try those new things. Take a month and try. You have the time. No matter how old you are, you have the time. You can have a month to spare to go out and try this thing. And you might look back on it in the future with great fondness, even if it didn't work out. Which is, I mean, that's definitely how I'm going to look at this experience. So as I put a wrap to this episode finally, I thank you for being here. Again, go out there, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Go out there, like the video, write a comment, talk about a good experience you went through. Talk about a new thing you went through, a job you had to go through that was grueling or something you didn't like, but you learned something from. You got the rewards from, you got the fruits from it. Because that's truly where God gives you his greatest lessons, is through struggle, through difficult times, through pain, and through change, and through things you don't want to do. So thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but when it gets time to make the episode, I will make something great for you. So thank you very much for being here, and I will see you tomorrow for the next episode.